Hey guys, Cam for 15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another My Hero Academia manga chapter review as we are continuing on with more My Hero. Now the last two chapters, they were around 11 pages. This week's chapter, we got about 15 pages, and this chapter was pretty good. Pretty good. We had returns from former characters that were villains, and it's one of those things where it goes around full circle, with this whole thing. And then it also shows you, the impact Deku has had in, his aspiration of becoming a hero. Just to see him inspire these two characters to change for the better, and get a grasp of like, no, I'm not gonna give up on I'm not gonna give up on somebody who may be a villain. If there's a chance to save them, then I'm gonna try to take it. So let's get on with this manga chapter. We know the manga chapter starts off this week with La Brava obviously returning, and hacking into hacking into Skeptic's whole thing and everything. Now, she goes on to tell Skeptic, like, I remember when I was a shut-in, I just practiced, working into or hacking into good ink servers and replace all the ads with what was an optic kitty. Yeah. Um, the code's functions are wildly long, and the scope of these variants is nuts. I gotta say, your coding habits haven't changed much. And pretty much Skeptic's like, that was you this entire time? So yeah, he goes on to say, like, my life was ruined because of you, because the company took a massive financial hit and things like that. So yeah, in a way, Skeptic is having some PTSD from the time, I guess, when La Brava hacked into the servers of the place he used to work at and everything. So then he tries to escape because, well, he has a feeling like, well, if I get out of here, they won't be able to track my ID and find where I'm at. So yeah, and he pretty much is saying it doesn't matter. I'm gonna flee from here, and then the flames of this revolution will still continue on, and everything. Now, we cut back over to the police agency area, and this guy's like Sukauchi. He makes a mention that UA is still falling down, and it's, instead of hurtling like to the water, it's actually hurtling to like solid ground and everything. Now, Sukauchi asks like La Brava, "Hey, can you do something to fix this whole issue?" Now, La Brava goes on to say the system got wrecked by that last impact, and I'm trying to code a brand new program so that the people who are surviving there can honestly live, and they can keep the floating structure in the air. But she says that's not enough time to set this new code up and everything. So yeah, now Suga Uchi, he's having an inner monologue with himself, and he goes on to say, "We should have known it was a bad call to leave our final key line of defense to a convicted villain." He goes on to say, "A crime is a crime, and we can't erase the past. But it's not always a lost cause." And in this moment, he's remembering the time when Ayama was obviously convicted of being the freaking UA traitor and everything. He knows that, well, in other cases, yes, there's somebody that had villain traits or was doing villainous things, but at the same time, they assisted in this whole operation. Now we cut back to UA's battle and everything. We see Deku and Shigiraki. It's like after the big moment, when Shigiraki said, "I'm your villain. I don't care if you don't understand. That makes us heroes and villains." So Shigiraki, they look like they're ready about to clash again and everything. Deku, he actually kind of moves down his scarf a bit, because if you remember, he can barely breathe, because when he uses gear shift on himself, he's having a tough time breathing. So dude barely has I guess you could say, I want to say he's grasping for air, but he's having a difficult time to breathe. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where that's going on. Now we cut over to Mandalay. She goes and says, "We lost control, so prepare for a crash landing." She's telling this to the others, people on the base. Now, Kaminari, he actually sees Monoma, Manuel, and Aizawa being taken down by the Twice clones and everything. Um, but right now, that's kind of not, they can't worry about them. Now, we do see the fighter jets that help Deku get to UA in the first place. They're really on standby, and they're wondering, like, wait, UA's fallen. Should we fire lasers to maybe destroy the structure and everything? But the thing is, one of the other, jet pilots, or I guess the leader of them, is like, no, we can't do that because if we end up doing that, we may actually accidentally hit our allies. We may accidentally hit some heroes. We don't want to do that. So we just have to wait for the time being until we're given an order. Now, says then they see somebody within the vicinity, and they're like, wait, who the hell is that? And we see this man floating above the water and everything. Now we then cut back over to Skeptic, and it's then Skeptic is pretty much captured by Miss Joke. Miss Joke, Shindo, I believe his name is. It's the one guy, the one, I think it was the one mud guy. No, not the mud guy. No, not Shindo. I forgot his name. It was the dude who's dating Tatami. The girl that can, like, the girl with the turtle quirk. I forgot his name. And then the one UA teacher who is the dog one. The one that ended up capturing, who later shows up in this chapter, Gentle Criminal. Or I guess you can say Gentle Hero, whatever you want to say. And everything. And even he takes off his mask. That guy takes off his mask. He's like, fate works funny. Because that's the thing. But they got tipped off where his area was at, so that's why they were able to confront him and everything and stop him right then and there. And pretty much Suguchi's like, well, it's up to you, Tobata. And La Brava says, you got this, Gentle. So Gentle gets powered up due to La Brava's love quirk and everything. And yes, Gentle Criminal has returned to the story. I had this feeling that, okay, if La Brava showed up, Gentle will definitely show up. He's definitely got to show up because you can't bring La Brava back and then not have Gentle come back. I had a feeling like maybe he gets involved in the fight against Shigiraki. I don't know though, but I could see him. Now, I never made a mention in my video, but I always had this thinking, like, off screen, like, okay, maybe he could come back and everything. And lo and behold, a chapter later, he returns to the story, which a lot of people predicted that Gentle Criminal would find some way to get involved in the My Hero Academia story. Now he's doing this because, well, obviously he owes practically everything to Deku, because in a way Deku opened his eyes to get him to change as a person and understanding everything. Now we get a flashback because obviously you have to wonder, how the hell did Gentle Criminal or I'll just call him Gentle. How the hell did Gentle get out of prison? How did they, did they just find him on the run? Now, we find out that in one of the 7 prisons that Muscular broke out, there was only one prison that, was secured and didn't lose any prisoners. And that was under Gentle. And that was the prison where Gentle was in. Now, the thing is, Gentle was trying to stop these convicts, saying, hey, listen, we just got to pay our service, and why do we need to go out there and everything? And he's like saying, is what you truly desire really out there? And we see how these convicts, they want to try to kill the people who put them in jail and everything. And the thing is, we see and it's more like disheveled, like Gentle. He's getting afraid of everything, but then he remembers back to what the gorilla officer said about the only people who say they can't turn their lives around are the ones with no real desire to change. They're too impatient. They want results right away. I dashed headlong down the wrong path without the courage to restrain myself. And pretty much, the thing is, not only because the old gorilla cop officer telling him you can change if given the opportunity, and then even remembers when Deku, the moment him and Deku in his fight about when Deku wanted to make a bright future, obviously for his friends and everything, that whole fight, then you just happen to where Gentle has belief in himself, and we find out that he was the person that was responsible for holding off all the convicts at the prison they were in and getting them back to their cells and everything. Um, and there was no escapees. And then obviously the officers came and they're like, "Well, you helped us stop these convicts. What would you like?" And pretty much his whole thing was, "I just want to see La Brava," because he pretty much finds out that him being away from La Brava for so long really in a way that made his love stronger for her, a lot better. So it's a nice little cap off. I want to say cap off, but it's a nice little, story for him. And I do like the fact that, not only does Gorilla Cop had a play in his role for changing for the better, but Deku obviously had a major impact in their fight they had only in that one UA arc or season 4 of My Hero Academia in the back half where you know Deku's beliefs and morals, it kind of made Gentle realize like, oh, this kid, he was similar to me, he's similar like in a way to me and everything. He's willing to help people and go out his way and things like that. So yeah. That's anyways, due to the fact that he's powered up by La Brava, Gentle creates a massive air barrier to prevent UA from falling. Now the thing is, how long he'll be able to hold this, no clue. But he goes in to say, "Tell me, boy, do you once again find yourself fighting for the joy of others?" Because he's saying this, he's remembering the time back when he tried to originally save that one person when he was trying to use his powers back in his past and everything. Then he failed. And that's when Mandalay makes the mention, like, what the heck, there's apparently an air trampoline that's keeping UA floating pretty much. Deku hears this and he's like, air trampoline, and that's when he remembers, wait, that's Gentle. And Gentle, obviously with tears in his eyes, he goes on to say, "Yes, to be of service to others was my hope, Gentle." Him and Deku both get pretty emotional. It's a pretty emotional panel. But Daigoro Banjo's like, we don't have time to freaking worry about crying, kid. Bad news. Look, the balance is broken. He's starting to move up again, and if his hand touches the ground, then everybody's going to die, pretty much. But as Shigaraki's looking to decay the entire ground and probably just kill everybody right then and there, we see this thing come out of nowhere. It goes through his hand, and we see a bullet that looks awfully familiar. Now, Tsukauchi is saying, no matter how far they've fallen, each villain is still a human being. It's on us to recognize that about them. We absolutely have to. To borrow a phrase from a friend, which in this panel, I didn't see it first, but in this panel first, we see All Might walking away with a briefcase. Now, what that could be, I have no clue. But Tsukauchi pretty much says, to borrow a phrase from a friend, deep within each of their hearts, will find their starting point, their origin. Chapter obviously ends with the title, Story of How We All Became Heroes, Part 4. And the chapter ends with, shockingly enough, Lady Nagant shooting off that bullet to cut off Shigaraki's hand, and her way of helping Deku. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I really did enjoy this chapter. There is going to be no break, so there'll be a chapter next week. It seems like Lady Nagant is from a faraway distance to snipe. So that's kind of the thing there. But I really did like this chapter. Seeing the returns of Gentle and Lady Nagant was absolutely great. Just to see everything that has happened in this story when it comes to these characters and how much in their own individual fights they were impacted by Deku and the way of a hero he is, how it impacted them and everything. I really do like that, because these are two people that in a way they feel like they owe Deku their lives pretty much, because if it wasn't for coming across Deku, they wouldn't have really realized maybe the transgressions that they were causing, the things that they were doing, in the Lady Nagant fight, I forgot. Thank goodness that the anime is, we're getting close to that Lady Nagant fight. But I remember in the part of the anime when, there was a part where Deku, went out there to went out there and tried to save Lady Nagant, and she viewed him as a hero, as a true hero, pretty much. And she realized, like, no, this guy is something different. He's not just like your typical hero. He's the type of hero that would go above and beyond for somebody. Gentle Krenoma, with what Deku was saying to him, that made him in a way wake up, like, no, this guy is actually different. So I like the fact that, Deku helped these guys out in their fights, and in a way started the process of them understanding, or getting on the road to redemption for them, to do the right thing. And in return, when Deku probably needs help, probably at the most, they come back and they assist him, as a way of owing him back for what he did for them. So it's a nice full circle thing, which honestly, believe it or not, I think this is something that all for one, he didn't predict. I don't think All For One would predict, like, oh, these people would have turned sides to help him out, which it again shows Deku how much of a hero he's different from the typical heroes we've seen in the past few, are the typical heroes we've seen in this entire story. He's a hero that's not only willing to go above and beyond for regular civilians, but he's willing to go above and beyond for other heroes, as well as potentially trying to go above and beyond for villains, and understand what is the reason why they do what, and maybe we can find a way to turn you to the good side and make you make right decisions instead of doing the wrong decisions. And I think that's the one thing that makes that, by the end of the story, Deku calls himself the world's greatest hero, pretty much. I think that's that's going to be one of the main factors, one of the main reasons why Deku ends up being the world's greatest hero, because he's a hero that is willing to not only help, good people, he's willing to also try to help bad people and make them understand the errors of their ways, and in a way he would deem as save them. So it's a nice full circle thing right then and there, with the fact that, we're seeing that people that Deku impacted who were bad people, guess what? He's now turning them over to his side and making some, respectable allies that, you would have to imagine they're going to turn out for the better because of it. But anyways, solid chapter, My Hero. There's going to be no break, so, that's good. And yeah, don't know where the next chapter is going to go, but I guess we're going to focus on Deku and Shigiraki unless we cut back to Gungan Mountain Villa area and see what's going on there. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. If you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's this week's chapter for My Hero Academia, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more My Hero Academia content, whether it's the anime or the manga or any other anime content I upload to the channel. Till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day or night. Till then, guys, peace.